Welcome to Bootstrapped Unicorns. I'm your host, Josh Pies, and this is the show where scrappy founders, rebellious visionaries, and business misfits pull back the curtain on what it really takes to build something extraordinary from absolutely nothing. No trust fund, no fairy god investor, just grit, duct tape, caffeine, yeah, and that dream. We're talking about the wild, unfiltered ride of turning chaos into cash flow and ideas into impact. So buckle up. This is no Disney movie, but there might be some magic. Let's face it, even Elon started in a garage. So without further ado, let's get to the next episode. Welcome to Bootstrapped Unicorns, presented by C47 Digital Studios. Unicorns, we are back with another episode. I'm glad you're here with me. This one's going to be a great one because every once in a while I do a follow-up episode. And let's see, we've done that with Marcus Callius, is probably one of my favorites. He is, that cool serial entrepreneur who's grown something huge, sold it in that mythical, beautiful moment where it's big, multiple figures. And now he's going and helping other businesses do that. He was worth having on to hear about his journeys helping other businesses. Well, I had Laura Patac on recently. Actually, it was not that long ago. It was just this summer. And boy, we got deep into the weeds about personal development fast. And she said, I think on the air, but it might've been off the air, that she's about to write a book and I'm going to have to read it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, her book is in my hands right now. Whole, Not Perfect: Empowering Stories as Tools for Anyone Ready to Reinvent and Reclaim Themselves. So I like that, Whole, Not Perfect. So before I let Laura just start chatting with us, I'm going to open the text for a little bit here. And I want to show you. So I'm already underlining and highlighting in here and dog earing. And one of the things I'm going to tell you listeners up front is I do this show, as you know, for entrepreneurs, because I'm sowing seeds into your life and your world, because I believe that if you get better at what you do, you can help other people, and helping each other is what it's all about. You can take care of your families, your employees, you can make the world a better place. And with that in mind, you've got to make yourself better before you can make other people better. And so self-development, personal development, it really for anybody, but especially entrepreneurs, is required. But so many of these self-help books suck. I'm just going to put it out there. They're not good. Why? Because they're from people who maybe just don't know what they're talking about. Maybe they don't have the skills. Maybe they had a vision and a dream, but they couldn't articulate it well. Maybe they just don't give you anything to bite into where it's actionable and you can walk away. And that's probably the worst one, in my opinion, when you can get all the feels, but none of the action. I'm going to tell you right now, all the way on whopping page 5, there's 157 pages to this book. There are already frameworks and descriptions on how to proceed with applying what you're learning and feeling in this book. Laura's flipping the script on how to have self-help. Do you hear me? This one you can actually use. So unicorns, I know I'm selling this book. I get no royalties. I get no bonus or benefit. Just my friend gets maybe some sales. I like that part. But you get to be a better you when you can actually take action on big ideas. And this is, I'm already giving you the cliff notes that you have actual rubrics, frameworks to work from a self-help book finally. Okay. So without further ado, and I know I've gone long with this, but I'm excited because there's something here for you. Hey, Laura, how you doing?
Joshua, it's amazing. Thank you so much for such an amazing introduction, not of me, but of my book. And I say hello to everyone, to all your listeners and followers. And I'm super happy to be here with you for the second time. How are you?
Good. Rather busy. Things are crazy around here. It's just one of those things where everything seems breakneck pace-wise from personal life to business life. Things are good busy. And I'd rather have that than the opposite. So, and actually, are you in Dubai again? Is that where you're back to Dubai?
Yes, I'm in Dubai. I'm in Dubai. Yes, indeed. Like very, very warm. The weather is getting better and better. And yes, it's good. It's good to be here.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you are. I'm wearing sweaters here, which is really weird. We've had a cold snap. And
Short sleeves.
Yeah, I'd rather get back to that actually. I moved to Florida to get out of the cold, but here I am. So Laura, first of all, let's start with why. Why did you write this book? Who is this for, and how did this happen?
Remember last time we were talking about storytelling, my first book, Stories with Purpose, and the importance of storytelling. And I was about to give the manuscript for my second book to a publisher. And I was just like going back and forth for 2 weeks, and I had a realization. And that manuscript, it didn't went to the trash can, but that manuscript transformed. So I realized that in the last 2 years, since I left corporate life, actually I went through an identity crisis. Because when the business title went away, when the resources, they were not there anymore, when you don't have anymore a job description, I realized that the questions which I had in my mind that time were who I really am and what I am good at. And when I reflected to the last 2 years, I had this kind of big aha moment, realizing that there is a uniqueness in me, and for that matter, each and every of us, we have an individual uniqueness, and we should be aware about it. And I was looking to get this into a formula, how people they should be aware about their uniqueness and how they can realize it and own it. So I went back 2 years back, and I realized that, first of all, I think each and every person coming into our life is teaching us something.
I agree with that.
And coming with this kind of learnings in the past 2 years, I realized that individual uniqueness is a formula of 4 elements. One is what we talked in our first interaction, your origin story, the story which brought you here, because there are multiple nuggets of experiences and learnings which actually you know what you learn, but the question is how you take that learning further into your life. And having this, I said, okay, so my journey, actually it's unique to me, as your journey, Joshua, it's unique to you.
Of course it is, yeah.
That was the first element. And I said, how I answer the question, what I am good at. And I remember that when I was in corporate, I was working a lot with teams, and I was combining talents based on Clifton strengths, those kind of, top 10 unique DNA strengths which each and every person has. And I shelved that somewhere when I finished my corporate life, but I said, those talents, I know them, I claimed them long ago. Why I'm not using them? Because they are mine and they are unique to me. So same as I have my top 10 talents, which are strengths because they come naturally and effortless, you have them as well. The third element, I realized, I said, okay, the way how I behaved and what mattered to me in corporate life, it matters to me nowadays as well. I still have the same values, and those values, I walk and talk the path every day being guided by those values. And my 5 values are unique to me, same as you have your top 5 values unique to you. And the fourth element, I said, okay, so if the two of us, we want to, let's say, have a holiday in Italy.
Okay.
The journey, the path, the experiences to get there, like an aspiration, is going to be very different. And I realized that there are so many people having maybe the same aspiration, make $1 million, go to a holiday in Italy, the same kind of like tangible ideation kind of aspiration. But what is going to be unique to each and every of them is going to be the journey to get there. So therefore, I realized that there is this kind of like, beauty in individual uniqueness, which can be asserted, can be named, can be claimed, you can own it. And on top of that is very empowering. Because when I did that along the way in the last 2 years, actually I realized it's like claiming yourself. And it's part of what I'm calling nowadays self-leadership, because when you know these kind of things unique to you and you are able to articulate it, you can really drive yourself and you can achieve anything you put your mind at.
I absolutely love that. And, you know, what you just described there, to a listener probably feels empowering, but there's, you know, you gave a great list of four, and I want to go right back to your book here. It's these frameworks that let you work through them. And so, I'm, you know, I'm not going to go too deep into your book because I want people to buy it, but, you know, you've got this story framework, which, you know, it's
Yes.
day-to-day micro stories. And you've got your dream framework. You've got that's practical imagination in the present tense. So this is basically figuring out how to take the hopes and the wishes and turn them into something formal so that you can actually take action on them. And then right in here, and this is page 15, this is the one that seems to be connecting with a lot of what you just described, the real framework. You
The
know,
real framework,
the
yeah.
real framework, because you know, and I'll lay this out, everybody. You know, you've got realization, effect, action, and lesson. So it's REAL. And when you realize that you failed or you had a past that you've survived, that is, everybody has this. Everybody's got it. And Laura, you know, you left something that wasn't a failure. It was multiples of successes, but your disconnection from it causing your identity crisis kind of falls into that moment of realization. There was there was
Yes,
something that
yes.
had to be made aware in you. And so now you've got the effect, the lesson shifting in your perspective. And then, and this is for everybody, the action is you're choosing to stand again. And the lesson is growth is born in that rubble. And so you just laid that out in a way that it sparked in me. And I'll even show you right in here. I circled, I either win or I learn. I wrote that in here because the greats that have come before us, everywhere from Nelson Mandela all the way to John Maxwell, lean on that concept of I either win or I learn. And I feel like, though I say that phrase to my kids all the time, my wife and I live by that mantra. We share it here in our business all the time. That it's you venture into something, and if it's a success, great. You'll probably learn less and be less valuable for having the success because you actually have more gold in the failure because you learn from it and grow. But rarely have I seen a way to break down what this actually means. And you're doing
Exactly.
that. So let's talk more about winning and learning, because I feel like therein lies why anybody turns to a self-help is a terrible term, kind of a self-growth tool, is that they're feeling like they're,
Self-growth, self-worth,
yeah,
self-leadership.
there you go. Self-leadership is correct. Yeah. So now you come to this book usually because you're feeling lost or broken. And it's I think the reality is that you had a momentary failure where you did not win. So you must be learning. And this is part of the learning process. So help us learn more about how this book would guide us through these learning moments.
So thank you so much for mentioning the frameworks. Because the book is divided based on the four elements of individual uniqueness. And each and every framework is each and every chapter of the four elements has some frameworks applicable. The story framework usually it's used when you have those kind of like realizations, when you are looking back, even if it's a winning or if it's a failure, and you ask yourself the questions, you know, how I got through all that, why I ended up in that situation, what I learned out of it, is it still worth pursuing? But most importantly, you make a decision and you move on and you take that learning further. So story framework is helping you to extract the most meaningful thing for you as individual, which you can carry on to your next experience and to your journey. And it's like a dissection. Either you had a success, either you had a failure. Because I think we are very tempted to look to challenges and failures, but there is so much to also learn from successes as well, or for the things which they may go like half and half, right? We are tempted to think negatively about things.
Sure.
So story framework realizations. Now the real framework is helping anyone to start thinking about your talents. Because when you are going through a situation, it's not just about the action. It's also about the emotions. It's also about the talents which you put at work. Someone could be a very good, I would say, problem solver. Someone could manage very easily priorities and multitasking. Someone could be a very good strategic. Each and every of us, we have 34 talents. But out of 34 talents, there are 10 which becomes very natural to us. Real framework is helping you with the question to link an experience with your talents. And that is priceless. And the dream framework it's about aspirations. But the aspirations, when people are talking about aspirations and, the new year is coming, the resolutions, everyone is putting out their different aspirations.
Yeah.
I think what the dream framework comes with, it comes with a commitment at the end, a momentum, which you start building from the moment when you are talking in present tense about that aspiration. And you carry that commitment forward into your daily actions or into any actions you take in the next future. So to me, the frameworks, they really move from insight to intention. And I think this is the very fine line, because we all have insights. We all have this kind of like, oh, I understand this lesson. That's an insight. But how you take that insight intentionally to your journey, that is what this framework does. Yeah. What is all about these frameworks? Not a native English speaker and a bit like too passionate about the topic.
No, that's really funny. What was your first language?
My first language, it's Romanian.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Well, I would be a complete mess in Romanian because I know zero. So you're doing far better than I would. So what I'm hearing here is that this book, not only, everybody, if you buy a book, you should be writing and making notes in it and making it your own. But it feels like there's a lot of journaling required in order to take these frameworks and apply them to yourself. Do you have suggestions on how to accomplish not only a successful journey through just reading the text, but really digesting it? And to me, digesting really getting into a book means participating in the book. So how do you recommend an entrepreneur take this and do more than just sit with it? Some people say, well, I got to sit with it. Well, that's sedentary. I don't like that. How do we use this?
So I would say it like this. The book, the way how the book unfolds, definitely it's an experience. And the way how the experience goes is that people will be inspired by stories. And that's why the subtitle is Empowering Stories as Tools. I think I haven't heard someone talking about stories as tools. Everyone is talking about storytelling, but stories are literally tools. And depending on the appetite, there is poetry, because this is my main skill and this is my love language. There is poetry with the story behind. And the way how I encourage the reader to go through the book is to really sit and think, go to the content and say, okay, so what do I want to know first about me? Do I want to know exactly, to identify which story brought me where I am right now? Do I want to really identify a bit of my values? Do I want to really double down on strengths? Or I'm much more like intentional about the future? And you just go to the chapters which actually they really make sense to you in the moment where you are right now. And I do believe that there is a lot of inspiration which comes from my own stories, my own journeys, and the way how the lenses, how I see, and people, they might connect with some lyrics, they might connect with the story behind the poem, and there is also the framework which they can use for that particular situation and reflection prompts. I think the most important is, what do you want to know about your uniqueness? And you start from there.
That is awesome. And it's interesting you bring up the poetry. I was a little surprised to find poetry in the text. That was a new angle on handling this conversation for sure. And it's not just one poem, folks. There's like a handful of them in here. And honestly, I think the reason why I picked up on the need to journal in order to, for some people at least, to internalize and participate in this is your poem here entitled Sundays. Would you mind if I read one page out of your book?
Please go ahead.
So everybody, this is page 20. I do have my reading glasses on. I see. Okay, good. And on page 20, the page is entitled Sundays, and there's a great poem in here. But a little bit of an orientation paragraph to help you out. So, the week can turn into a conveyor belt. Work, noise, repeat. Sundays offer white space, a quiet interval to notice what the week hid. Gratitude meets you here, not to sugarcoat the hard parts, but to sharpen your sight so you can carry forward what matters and gently set down what doesn't. All right, and everybody, this is where she goes into her really lovely poem, and then I'll leave you with that, and maybe we'll get into some final thoughts with Laura. So she writes, I scribble on Sundays, when quieter it is, recalled thoughts of random, some moments I've missed. I briefly search feelings, neglected or stalled, by moving too faster, by thinking too small. The life-fickle candor sometimes plays in decor. Full moments that passed raw. But then often I shout, telling love that I'm here. I'll tell you what, that quiet Sunday awareness, folks, is something that's rare and beautiful. And if you're gonna pull off growing, you do have to stop and think and reflect. And this book here, Whole Not Perfect, I'm telling you right now, I'll read it and go through it. I think there's always something you can pick up from an author, but I think there's a lot we can pick up from Laura in this text. So, Laura, if you could describe to a perfect stranger that you found out they're an entrepreneur that needs some self-direction, some self-leadership, how would you describe to that person why they need to spend time with, not just read, but spend time with Whole Not Perfect?
I will say it like this, Joshua. I think everyone has a responsibility to understand and uncover their uniqueness. Those kind of strengths, those kind of stories and the learnings and the moments which actually brought them where they are right now. And that uniqueness is what helped them in the past to overcome challenges or to build success. But that uniqueness is also going to help them to build a future and to reach their aspirations. So to me, understanding, and when I'm talking about self-leadership, self-leadership, it's a responsibility, it's individual responsibility, because if you don't do this self-leadership for yourself, it's going to be maybe much more difficult to help others to reinvent themselves and to lead them. So this is what I'm saying, and that individual uniqueness, it's so raw, so authentic, and sometimes it's imperfect, and most of the time it's imperfect, but that is the beauty, because the imperfections, and this is the title of the book, Whole Not Perfect. All these scars, the imperfections, the fact that we are doing mistakes, this gives more value to that uniqueness which each and every one of us have.
Well, thank you. This is, I know books, man. These are a labor of love. So you've definitely given a gift to the world in sorting this out. And I'll compliment you, but this is really so the audience can hear it. One of the things, if you read the table of contents of this book, organized people will recognize that this is very well organized. It's easy to understand how to get your head around this. Every part, every section within the parts, all of it is done almost like those Russian nesting dolls. They perfectly fit together. They nest well. This nests really well. So Laura,
Yeah.
kudos. You moved fast on this book, which fast frequently can mean disorganized. I don't know how you pulled that off, but you did a brilliant job here. So audience, it is now to you. This is your call on what you're going to do with your life. I highly suggest that you do intentional things. And this is one intentional decision. If you go to Amazon, you're going to find, and Laura and I are working on this, that not only is it going to be, it's already available on Amazon, right?
It's already available on Amazon.
Okay.
And for the Thanksgiving and Black Friday, we are going to have a very, very good countdown deal for the Kindle version.
Awesome. Okay. So you can get easy access to it. Very affordable, it sounds. You'll find my recommendation on there. Laura and I have decided that it's, we'll get a recommendation on there. We may even post this episode on Amazon, so it's connected to my praise for this text. But I'm going to say it again. The only thing I get out of this is the knowing that you as a human are going to get better by making intentional decisions. I am not commissioned. I am not an affiliate. I don't want to be, because I want to be authentic and pure on this. So I want you to know that what I'm saying, I believe, and I believe it for you. So go get this text, Whole Not Perfect. Laura is also very approachable. So if you want to reach out to her on LinkedIn and ask her to speak, she'll jump into your Zoom room and speak to your group. Or if you want to fly her in, that this type of thing can really affect your entire organization. So I highly suggest that if you're somebody who can book speakers, you won't regret contacting Laura. And like I said, super approachable. That's how we found each other, is actually on LinkedIn. So, world, go to it. And because this is before Thanksgiving and Christmas and Hanukkah and all of the above, happy holidays, folks.
Happy holidays to everyone. And thank you so much. Very, very excited. And as you said, I'm very approachable. I love talking with readers. I love understanding what resonated with them, because I think it's important to also see what is the value which people they take out of books.
Yeah.
And I don't know, shaping my next one.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Joshua.
I like it. All right. Well, Bootstrapped Unicorns, you know how we roll. I have no clue who's going to be on the next episode. I just promise that we're going to try to drive as much value to you as possible. So don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, go connect with me on LinkedIn personally, go follow my business, go connect with Laura on LinkedIn and find her, and just do things that are going to help you, man. I mean, that's really what it is. And you know what's also going to help you? If you stop listening to this episode and you get back to work.